Hello, everyone.
Hello again.
Hello.
Hello. And welcome to another episode of.
This is the Circle Podcast.
My name is James.
It is your host, Philip.
My name is Daniel.
Like always, I'm here with my best friends.
All right, so today will be a pretty fun episode.
I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, goodbye.
Goodbye, party people.
See ya.
Anyways, welcome back to the Circle Podcast. I'm your host. My name is James. I'm here with two of my best friends in the whole world and co-hosts. They would like to introduce themselves.
Yes, I would. My name is Andrew Frank Garcia. I live on 360. Anyways, thank you for joining us again.
Is that really your middle name?
Drop the...
Frank, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's my grandpa's name.
Wow.
But
my middle name is my grandfather's name too.
yeah. Well, my dad Okay, this is like a whole story to it, but anyway, welcome back. All you new listeners and reoccurring listeners, we appreciate you sticking around.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming back. As always, we appreciate you. I'm excited.
James is back.
I'm back. Happy Halloween.
He's in the spirit.
I'm in the spirit. For those who are watching on YouTube, or to those who are not watching on YouTube, go watch our YouTube and you can see what I'm wearing right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Real quick, to always remember, make sure to follow us on Instagram at The Circle Pod. Subscribe to us on YouTube, The Circle Podcast. Yeah. I mean, we got a TikTok too, but, whatever. Chinese spyware. With that being said, so tell us about your middle name.
Oh, God. Oh, it's a very scary story.
All right.
So, my grandpa's name is Francisco.
Francisco.
And my dad
Kiko.
decided to go with the, I guess, American name, Frank.
Instead of Francisco.
So it's a Francisco, so that's a fucking scare in itself.
So, did your dad name you? Or
Dude, my dad wanted to actually call me Francisco, my first name. My mom was like, "What the fuck, no,"
Two beaner or what?
I guess so. So my mom was kind of religious back then. She was religious back then, so she went with the name from the Bible, Andrew.
That's from the Bible?
Yeah,
Never
Wouldn't
read
know.
it.
Yeah, wouldn't know.
Andrew. I think your name's from the Bible too, bitch.
James?
James?
Yeah, it might be.
And Philip, I think.
With one L or two?
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
There's a lot of fuckers in the Bible,
But
All right, then I belong.
but yeah, I mean that's the thing. And then my mom said no, and she's like, "Oh, we're gonna name you Andrew." So I was like, "Okay."
Oh yeah, like you had a choice.
They're just telling you this?
Yeah, they just told
Dude,
you, hey,
for-
we're gonna name
for
you
a-
Andrew. Okay.
For a while, maybe like
Hey, child number 3.
maybe like 2 years ago, or maybe 2 or a year ago, I was really considering changing my name.
Your first name?
Yeah, 'cause I was like, man, I didn't get to fucking choose that my name.
Yeah.
That'd be cool if I just fucking.
What's a name that you were thinking?
I don't know, but it would be fucking weird. I tell you that it would be something weird.
What are like some top
It'll be weird.
contenders?
I don't know, but I just know it'd be weird.
Like XX Slayer 69XX.
Like Cthulhu. Or like fucking, I don't know.
Cthulhu would be funny.
But I was just considering that because I was like, man, no one gets to choose their name. Why don't people just fucking change it?
Yeah.
Just do what they want.
Yeah, you can.
So, I don't know. It's still up in the air.
Changing your name?
Yeah.
That'd be weird.
Yeah. Dude, I still haven't even changed your last name on my phone.
Oh, yeah? I still got, some shit I haven't changed.
I know, mentally, your new last name, but it always deep down, I mean,
Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah.
You'll forever be aware of it.
Oh, this fucking guy. Dropping everyone's last names.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
okay, man.
For
Just
me,
trying to
I don't care.
expose us.
Well, it's not your name anymore, so that's fine.
That is
Listen,
true.
if people really wanted to, they would just
Yeah,
find
they
me
could
and then
find
find
us.
me too.
Yeah, that's pretty easy.
We're already fucked, dude.
Yeah.
We're already fucked. Yep.
It's like really easy to find us, but now we just need to figure out where we live.
Yeah, you almost fucking told him.
People from India, get on it.
Was he really saying the address?
No comment. I don't want to make it easier. Any easier than it already is. But so for today's episode, we wanted to keep it somewhat festive.
Sorry. Little phlegm.
The fuck. So to go with the Halloween spirit, I asked these guys, find some stories, some creepy, spooky stories to share on the podcast. Ooh. Or any true crime stories too. Nothing scarier than the real shit. Or any personal stories. I know we got our fair share of our own personal experiences with the supernatural. So if you don't want to hear us read shit, this might not be the episode for you. But we're trying to make it spooky. Real quick though, I do want to start with this. What was the last movie you guys think you saw that legit kind of scared you?
I think Midsommar, for me.
Did it scare you or just kind of
No,
disturb you?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It freaked me out.
Mm.
I was legit scared to sleep, even though I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it really freaked me out because, I think I've said this before to you guys, but I felt like that could really happen to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was very real life.
I still haven't seen that movie, so I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, you should watch it.
You should watch Midsommar.
It's on Amazon, I think. Amazon Prime.
It is.
I don't really know the last movie I saw that legit scared me
Mm.
or made me fearful. At least, not like when I think made me scared. It's like the aftermath, like you, like not being able to sleep. Like I was actually fearful. Like holy shit, this could really happen.
Mm.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember that either. That's one thing that kind of sucks. I really liked that feeling. That was why I got into horror movies and stuff. And I feel like I'm so desensitized now at this point. I don't even remember the last movie that I saw that during the movie. Oh, actually, I think The Conjuring 2 was the last movie I saw where during the movie I felt oh my god, this is sweaty and kind of creeped out. But even then, I don't know. We've been trying to watch horror movies and none of them do it for me anymore.
That's interesting because, I don't really care for those movies. I only watch those movies when you guys invite me to go watch them.
I feel.
I'm like, oh, let's watch a scary movie. I don't know why.
I love horror movies.
Yeah, I
because of the scare factor, but also I feel like you need to be a really good actor to do a scary movie. A good scary movie, I feel.
Yeah, there's a lot of shitty scary movies. With shitty
Yeah. But I feel like the expressions that you see on actors' faces is to be able to do that, you have to be really good at acting.
Mm.
While we're on this topic of acting, have you? I just want to bring this up. Have you guys seen The Queen's Gambit?
Queen's
No.
Gambit? I've never heard of
that
it.
It's
movie?
the number. No, it's the number one show on Netflix right now.
Mm.
It's a limited series at the moment.
Mhm.
But bro, it's about chess, and it's about substance abuse. It's really fucking good.
What the fuck? Substance abuse and chess? They're taking the Limitless drug before chess matches? or
No,
what?
it's about this girl. It's really good. You should just watch it. It's
Okay.
fucking great.
Have to check that out.
Yeah, I've really been. It makes me want to get back into chess again.
I feel.
Yeah.
Have either of you guys seen Haunting of Hill House on Netflix?
No.
No.
Okay.
Oh, that's a show, right?
Yeah, that's also a show. It's just a one season, one series thing.
I think your
that one's pretty good.
mic stand is falling.
I think it's just angled like
Oh,
that.
okay, my bad.
I don't know, I couldn't get it flat. We gotta get new mic stands.
We gotta get a new table.
Okay, I'm gonna take this off, dude.
Getting hot?
I just really want to drink my beer.
Understandable.
Dude, just fucking do it just above.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, Mary Jane kiss.
That's fine. Earphones over it.
Damn, you're sweating under there, bro.
Yeah, it was kind of hot, bro. Fresh air.
Your fucking hair's all
It's all crazy.
in the back.
Yeah, I need a fucking haircut. So, does anyone have any stories they want to share first?
Yeah, like I texted you guys, I didn't have time to research shit.
No worries. Yeah, I told you guys kind of late, so
Yeah.
It's all
might
good.
be.
My plan was to go to work today with my headphones while I was doing my work and like listen to that true crime podcast,
Mm.
the Sword and Scale podcast. You should go listen to it. It's great. And just fucking choose one of those stories. I fucking forgot my headphones.
Shit. No worries, man.
Yeah.
Do you have one you want to share?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, I could start with one.
The vibrato.
I didn't even mean to do that.
Tell me why.
So, because you said you were finding your stories on Reddit, right?
Yeah. I found. Yeah. This dude. Yeah. He's got a couple good stories.
For sure.
So they're not very long. You know, I could get through it, but
Maybe you should go first then, because there's this subreddit that I've been a part of or following. Do you follow a subreddit, or you join a subreddit?
yeah.
Right? You join.
Is it called No Sleep?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been on that one for a while.
I follow that one too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some
Yeah.
really good stories on there. So I went through like some of my saved, and then I was just looking through like some of the all-time like most popular on that subreddit. So I have like 2 from those. But they're kind of longer, so I don't know if maybe you want to do one of
Yeah, I could do it
one
first.
of those first.
So I also came across Reddit, or scary stories on Reddit. It is a post from someone who is in, I don't know if it's SAR or SAR, but what it stands for is search and rescue. So he kind of explains what he does, and if you can't figure it out by the name, he finds missing people or tries to find missing people, or he tries to search and rescue, obviously. So, you know, they get calls in for people that are missing, kids, elderly, young adults, anyone. And they have to...
I think I read this one. I think it's coming. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I didn't
No,
mean
you're
to
good,
go.
you're good, you're
But
good.
it's making
He
me
ha-
excited
he ha-
because I know. I think I
he
know.
has like I don't know how many parts to the story he has, but he
I
has
think
like
there's like
a lot of
5.
parts. Yeah, is it 5?
Yeah.
But
What did he post this on?
on Reddit, on No Sleep.
Oh, it was on No Sleep.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there's a lot of speculation to whether it's real or not,
Okay.
but it seems real to me. So earlier I was telling these guys, I don't know how this guy is sane, because the shit that he comes across is like it's supernatural. You know what I mean? It's you know, it's not real life like a lot of people. You know. So one thing that kind of freaked me out was that so I guess it's a known thing in SAR or SAR for these search and rescue employees, or whatever you call them, to find staircases in the middle of forests. And it happens all around the world, because you hear stories. You'll find different comments and different stories of people all around the world saying that they find staircases in the middle of the forest. And he describes it as just like how you crop a picture, and then you just put it on another picture. That's how perfect the staircases are.
Huh.
It's just like you literally just took the staircase from the house, cropped it, and just put it in the middle of the forest.
Oh, so like you're just saying like a random flight of stairs going
yeah,
up?
yeah. Whether it be like
Oh.
2 stories or just
That's
one
weird.
story, and and it's all kinds of staircases as well. It's like metal staircases, it's wooden staircases, it's spiral staircases.
So I
So
was
it's
picturing just like stairs along like a cliff. or
No,
like
no,
a
no, it
mountain.
just just
Weird.
literally placed there. So it kind of gave me, like, I was reading here. I was because we have our recording room, and I was just like by myself reading, and I was just like looking over my shoulder.
Dude, I feel like we should set the mood in here.
Right?
Right?
Get a
I
little
was
dark.
thinking of that. Like, turn off the lights. We have a flashlight.
Yeah,
You know
that
what I
too.
mean?
Or like we could put these to like a dark red, or like something.
Play a
Fuck it.
little fucking.
It's all.
Some creepy music in the background.
This is why you got to go to YouTube and watch this episode
Yep.
if you want to see.
If you want to see the vibe, should we
Yeah.
turn off the studio lights?
I mean, I'm down.
Fuck it, let's do it. All right,
Is this a low light camera?
fuck it.
We're gonna fucking find out, aren't we?
We turn this off.
Yeah, go for it. Hold on, let me set these.
Oh
Ah,
yeah.
fuck me.
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh yeah.
Hold on, let me.
The fucking vibe. Yo, this is.
Is that the vibe right there?
I think that one right there.
Do we want like creepy music in the background?
Dude, I'm already getting angry thoughts.
Literally seeing red.
Just want to beat my wife.
Well, I could take these glasses off now. Have you noticed a difference with the ones I gave you?
I have, but the only thing is that I'm not used to wearing glasses.
Mm.
So like, because of that, after like an hour or two, they'll start to bug me and I end
Yeah,
up taking them
yeah.
off. But I do, yeah. I feel like my eyes don't feel as strained.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wait, do we want creepy music or no?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Nah, I'm not down.
Okay.
It would be more for us than it.
True. True.
So what was I saying? Oh, yeah, it's pretty. I guess it's pretty well known in that industry that you find staircases just in the middle of the forest, and they explain it as in terms of finding the staircases, it's well within the forest.
Mm.
So he was saying you have to be at least 20 to 30 miles into the forest
Mm.
that you find these staircases. And like I was saying before, a lot of people around the world find these staircases. And what he was saying, because he was saying that he was going through a week of training, and his commanding officer or his trainer brought him to a well-known area of the forest that people get lost in frequently. So she just wanted to show him that, just spots to look for, when he's out, searching for people. So they go to this spot, and he says he sees out of the corner of his eye like a straight edge. And then what he was saying is that nature doesn't make straight edges. So when he saw it, he was just like, what the fuck is going on? He was like very discombobulated. So he saw the staircase, and he said that he couldn't make out, like his brain was jumbling and was twisting because he couldn't make out why there was a staircase in the middle of the forest.
Mhm.
So he asks his commanding officer or his leader trainer, and I guess she was just very nonchalant about it. He was saying that she was like, "Oh yeah, that's a staircase." So he was like, "Wait, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on here? Like, why is there a staircase in the middle, of the forest?" And she's just like, "I don't know, But I guess what they tell them is to never go near it and never touch them, never touch these staircases. So he's just like, "Wait, what the fuck?" You're like, "Why not?" But reading through more stories, I guess people who go near it and who touch the staircases, they feel uneasy. So this is another story. He went to a what was it? It was like a little gathering for all the search and rescue people, where people would come together and I guess just meet and talk. And he was saying that his buddy was more curious than he was about the staircases.
Hmm.
So his friend ended up finding a staircase and going to walk up the staircase. And what his friend was saying is that he didn't initially feel uneasy about it walking up to it. He started to feel uneasy when he got to the top of the staircase. He's described it as being in like a government building you're not supposed to be in, like someone's watching you or someone's like has like a gun in your head, or just gonna shoot you any second. He said that feeling kept getting stronger and stronger, and then eventually he saw someone in the distance. He said like a black figure just looking at him. And so when he saw that, he ran down and ran away. So apparently, I don't know, it's what happens, I guess, in the middle of forest where you just find these staircases and they just tell you not to go near them, don't touch them. And he has another story I'm going to find where his buddy ends up going on another staircase. But his buddy's commanding officer knows that he goes on his staircase because a boy disappeared or something like that. It sounds weird, but let me read it.
Okay.
Yeah, just give me a second to find it. But reading all
weird.
through those stories, that was the weirdest shit to me.
Just imagining that kind of creeps me out.
Like seeing a random staircase.
Just to think that I'm going up a staircase in the middle of the forest. There's probably nothing but trees, and
And
that
it leads to nothing.
the guy felt like being watched. Because like forests are already like in the middle of nowhere. They're already pretty creepy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And the only thing I can imagine why there's staircases there is because of like ancient civilizations, right?
Yeah.
That would be the
And-
logical explanation, right?
And then the next thing you would think is, why would they build stairs, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, they use them a lot, and they're trying to go up.
Stairway to heaven, bro.
So that's what I was thinking too. I was like, oh, it's just like maybe someone, I don't know, maybe the fucking cabin just decomposed, but the stairs.
Some solid
my,
stairs.
my mind immediately goes to like fucking like ancient ritual shit. You know,
Mm.
like imagine what you would find if you like excavated in that area.
Mm.
Hold on, I'm trying to find
That's
it.
what I fucking think. That's the first thing that came to mind. Like, probably sacrificing bodies up there.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But I was, what kind of like threw that thought from my head is like, oh, it's just it's not, maybe they're just fucking buildings that used to be there. Is were accounts of newer stairs being there, like untouched, like brand new carpet.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, this can't be, this is like, these are modern stairs and
Oh,
these
wow.
aren't just, like medieval stairs. I don't fucking know, So this is the same guy. This is a story his buddy told him. And they're both in SAR or SAR. So he says, my buddy has been a SAR officer or SAR for about 7 years. He started when he was a junior in college, and he had a very similar experience when he first encountered the stairs. His trainer told him almost the same thing mine did, which was never go near, touch, or ascend them. For the first year, he did just that. But apparently his curiosity got the better of him, and on one call, he broke away from the line and went to go check a set of them out. He said they were about 10 miles from the path where a teenage girl had vanished and the dogs were following a scent. He was on his own, lagging behind the main group when he saw a set of stairs off to his left. They looked like they were from a new house because the carpeting was pristine and white. He said that as he got closer, he didn't feel any different or hear any weird noises. He was expecting something to happen, like bleeding from his ears or collapsing. But he got right up next to them and didn't feel anything. The only thing he said that was odd was that there was absolutely no debris on the steps. No dirt, leaves, dust, anything. And there didn't appear to be any signs of animal or insect activity in the immediate area, which he found strange. It was less like things were avoiding them and more like they just happened to be in a relatively barren part of the forest. He touched the stairs and didn't feel anything except that sort of sticky feeling you get from new carpet. Making sure his radio was on, he slowly climbed the stairs. He said it was terrifying because the way they'd been stigmatized. He wasn't really sure what was going to happen to him. He joked that half of him expected to be teleported to some other dimension and the other half was watching for a UFO to come swooping down. But he got to the top with little event and he stood there looking around. But he said the longer he stood on the top step, the more he felt like he was doing something very, very wrong. He described it as the feeling you'd get if you were in a part of a government building you have no business being in, as if someone was going to come and arrest you or to shoot you in the back of the head at any second. He tried to brush it off, but the feeling got stronger and stronger, and that's when he realized that he couldn't hear anything anymore. The sounds of the forest were gone, and he couldn't hear his own breathing. It was like some kind of weird, awful tinnitus, but more oppressive. He climbed back down and rejoined the search and didn't mention what he'd done. But, he said, the weirdest part came after. His trainer was waiting back at the welcome center after the search ended for the day, and he cornered my buddy before he could leave. He said his trainer had this look of intense anger, and he asked what was wrong. You went up them, didn't you? My buddy said it wasn't phrased as a question. He asked how his trainer knew. The trainer just shook his head. Because we didn't find her. The dogs lost her scent. My buddy asked what that had to do with anything. The trainer asked how long he'd been on the stairs, and my buddy said no more than a minute. The trainer gave him this really awful, almost dead-eyed look and told him that if he ever went up another set of stairs again, he'd be fired immediately. The trainer walked away, and I guess he never answered any of the questions my buddy had asked him about it since.
The fuck?
It's a good story.
Bro, yeah. That shit creeped me the fuck out. Okay. First of all, stairs in the middle of forest. It's, that's already creepy. But, I mean, there's different accounts of people feeling like the same thing when they get on these stairs.
Mm.
So, and the reason, I don't know. I do believe it. I believe kind of everything this guy is saying because there's like 5 parts to his fucking post. You know what I mean? So it's like fucking weird paranormal phenomenon after weird paranormal phenomenon. Kids kids disappearing in front of their mothers, and then like months later they find them in an impossible spot that they could never get to, like on the side of cliffs, and they find like different bones and body parts, and like 15 miles from where they originally were. There was a story where there was a disabled kid that disappeared, and they found him like 20 miles from where his campsite was. I think in half.
Oh shit.
So he had been missing for months, but when they found him, they ruled that he had only been dead for like 3 days due to exposure, which is like to weather and like hypothermia and stuff. And when they examine the bodies and stuff, they look inside the stomachs apparently, and he had nothing in his stomach, no water, no food, nothing. But he was holding like an ice like a little ice figure that was carved into like an action figure. It's fucking weird, man. I don't know. This shit gives me
weird.
goosebumps. But
there was one. What I was thinking of isn't what you posted.
Oh,
But
okay.
it was the same thing. The guy was part of a group where it was like they're searching for missing people or missing children in like a lake or whatever it was. A little boy had gone missing, and they went to go like check the lake, and his supervisor told him not to go in a certain part of the lake, right? And the guy's like, "What the fuck? Why would I not go there?" But while he was diving, he just so happened to go past there, and he had mentioned something about like diving down. It seemed like the lake had like it was grabbing people. Like at the bottom of the lake, it was grabbing people and drowning it. And it was by the end of the story, it was about like it was fucking weird. It got to the point where I was like, okay, this can't be true. But it was like very, very like it was just so specific. It was so descriptive, and it's just like how, like even if this is made up, like how do you just have this imagination to just make this up,
So that's why I guess on that subreddit called No Sleep, people are very skeptical about stories that are on there because a lot of them are fiction.
Yeah, I think most of them are.
But this guy, he just has story after story. It's just like doesn't seem like he could make this up. Like why would you
Did any part of you decide to like Google search random stairs and
No, I did.
forest?
Yeah, I did. And there's some images of just random stairs in the in the forest. People can't explain it. Like, you know what I mean? What are you supposed to say to that?
Yeah.
Like, fuck. Okay.
I think that's what's crazy is that it's really easy to think, oh, like we've discovered it all, right?
Yeah.
Like we've seen everything there's to see on our planet.
Yeah.
But there has to be so much that no human has ever
Did you guys
seen or been to.
You guys see that image that came out not too long ago about some random cave that had like thousands of like caskets inside of it?
No. I didn't hear about
No?
that.
Oh, let me Google search it real quick. It's pretty fucking creepy. It was because I think a helicopter flew over or some shit like that.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, throughout his posts is just kids missing.
I don't know what I did. with my
Them
phone.
never finding kids. People, even grown adult. Him finding grown adults that are lost,
Mhm.
and them just scared out of their mind because something's following them.
Mm.
Like
It fell down the couch.
Oh, really?
They have accounts of something called the Bear Man. There's
Man, bear, pig.
yeah, I know, right? There's a goat man.
Mm.
There's another account of a guy hearing screams, like a girl like being I guess murdered or something,
Mm.
but they just attribute it to mountain lions. Have you ever heard a mountain lion fucking like snarl or scream?
I feel like I have.
Oh, I saw a video of that like 2 days ago.
Yeah, it sounds like a girl being murdered.
Yeah,
Like a woman.
they've learned to make that noise to separate people from their groups.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, at least that's what the video that I watched
That's what they're
said.
thinking.
But it literally sounds like a little girl screaming.
Yeah,
It's
fucking.
fucking
It's
Maybe
creepy.
I haven't then.
If you hear that,
Maybe I
in
It's
the,
haven't.
terrifying.
if you hear that in the night, it's like, okay, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. But just these crazy situations that these search and rescue people are in. But you have to have some fucking balls being that, okay? Like,
Mhm.
because you have to.
These caskets are from
Fucking
1800 years
backpacking.
ago.
Tens of miles into
Jesus
the forest.
Christ.
You said 1800 years ago?
Yeah.
Huh. That's fucking weird. Where's that at?
Let me search.
I think what's tough about stuff like that, like the supernatural, is when you're trying to be logical about it, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, it's just probably this or probably this or probably that. Or like you would think like, okay, why don't we have more video or like evidence of this type of stuff, right?
Can I read the title of the article?
Yeah,
This
go
is
for
from
it.
the Daily Mail.
Mhm.
The hundreds of thousands of wooden coffins left to rot away in Chinese caves in the belief it will allow the souls of the departed into heaven.
Weird.
Imagine like stumbling upon that. Just like,
That'd be fucking creepy.
You just make a left into a cave.
I
And
know.
what the
Full of
dude?
caskets.
I would freak the fuck
The
out. I'd be
cave
like,
of
I'm
death.
out. I'm gone.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Like what's weird is that when I don't think about it, I'm very quick to say like, yeah, I don't believe in the supernatural. I don't believe in
Mhm.
any of that because there's no evidence. There's no way to prove it. There's
Mhm.
no way to replicate it. But I think about the shit that we went through, especially when we used to play with the Ouija board,
Mhm.
and I'm like, okay, how the fuck do you explain that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've had some paranormal shit happen in my life.
See, I have
Just
two.
random.
But I've always been like, you know what? Like, as humans, we just get freaked out by things we don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like an evolutionary trait to be afraid that there's something out there. There's something there to get you, right? Because that's what kind of leads you to surviving is if you're always kind of
Mm.
like looking behind your back.
Yeah,
Alert.
hyper aware.
Yeah. But this is my go-to story whenever I talk about the Ouija board, and I'll just tell it shortly. Like, do you remember when we were at Mark's? Oh,
Well, have we said his name?
What's
before?
up, Mark?
have we said his name before?
Yeah, we
I don't think
accidentally
I
said
don't-
it. We didn't drop his last
I
name,
don't think
though.
we dropped the whole fucking name.
Oh.
What's up, Marky Mark? How you doing?
Shit. When we were at
I'm sure
our
you
buddy
won't care.
Mark's house, I don't know if you're gonna believe that.
I'll bleep the last name at least.
For sure. We
I'll
were
just
at-
tag him in the post.
But when we were, but we were in his he had like a little. Were you there with us or no?
I've never been to his house.
No.
Okay.
I think that was before I started hanging out. with
Yeah.
him.
I think this was like right before. But we went to his house, and we were just like hanging out. We went to spend the night, and well, do you want to real quick talk about the Ouija board that you had? Because like your grandma's had it since like
Oh yeah.
how long?
There's some. She has some crazy stories of the Ouija board that we own. She's had it since I think she was living in Buffalo, New York, right? And don't know who tried throwing it away, but they definitely said that they threw it away. And my grandma said that I think she was leaving to go to school or she was coming home, and that fucking thing was sitting on her doorstep. Like there's she's told me plenty of times there's been multiple instances where they try to get rid of it and it doesn't go away. And what makes me believe this is that we thought we lost this thing. right?
Mhm.
Because it was sitting in my brother's closet for a very long time, and then it suddenly disappeared. We have no idea where it went. And it wasn't until we had the air conditioning redone in my house, where we had to get new ducts and everything,
Oh, that's right.
all this
Mhm.
done, that the fucking guys that were working on it found it like behind the heater, like that door by my room, the
Mm.
heater right there. They had opened it up and it was like behind it, like it was just sitting back there. And my grandma was like, "What the fuck? Like, how to get back there?"
Yeah,
you know,
that's
because
fucking weird, man.
I wouldn't even think about hiding something back there, you
Mhm.
know. And for the longest time, we thought we lost it, but it was just back there.
Yeah, that's weird. And like I remember the first times we played it, and we would ask it these fucking questions, right? And I remember, I think it was us. We like you and Kevin went to the bank. We're like, what time are they gonna come back?
Yeah.
And it set a time, and you guys literally walked in the door on the minute, on the
Mhm.
fucking minute.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I
Or
think-
like we would ask it stuff like we would ask it stuff about your family
Uh,
without you touching it, and it would get it right,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I think the one that sticks out to me is that same day we came home from the bank, but your
Mhm.
mom had come to pick you up. You didn't even know your mother's age, and we asked your mom's age, and we ran outside.
Well,
when
no, I knew it, but I wasn't touching the board. It was like you guys doing
is that what it was?
Yeah, so that
Okay.
I wouldn't like influence it or something.
Yeah, yeah. And we asked your mom's age, and we ran outside and asked your mom, and she was trying to, be the, like, oh, I don't know. Like, bullshit, what's your age? And then she told us, and I was just like, holy fuck, it got her right on the number.
See, like all that stuff, the logical side of me still thinks like, oh, like however slim the chances, it's all coincidence, right?
Uh-huh.
It's all fucking coincidence. And like people, I've read stuff online where people say like, oh, your subconscious moves the little thing
Mhm.
and you don't realize it or whatever. But what we'll never we'll never be able to explain is when we were at Mark's house, we were in his little back house. And for those listening, Daniel has always been terrified of the Ouija board.
Always.
He never touched it.
Yeah.
Never. He would watch us, but he would never touch it.
But there's times he didn't want to be
Be
there.
around, yeah.
He's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, stop being a bitch, dude.
And I remember we would like chase him with the board. He'd like run around because he wouldn't want to touch it.
Very superstitious about it.
Yeah. But so we're in Mark's like little. It looked like a shed, but it was like made into look like a room, right?
Yeah.
So we're back there, and the three of us are playing. And by three of us, I mean Mark, Philip, and myself. We're playing with the Ouija board, and Daniel was just watching. And it got to this point where I remember it kept saying, it kept like spelling out Daniel. Like it wanted to talk to Daniel. And he was just like, guys, like, no, guys. He was all scared.
No.
But what was weird was that it started spelling something that like didn't make sense.
Yeah, to us three at least.
Yeah,
we're
like
what
it
the
kept
fuck?
it kept saying this word, and we're like, "What the? That's not even like English. Like, what the fuck is this? This makes no sense." We didn't think into it. We're like, "Okay, whatever." The next morning, we're leaving Mark's house. We're in the car. I don't know if like, I don't remember. We're leaving his house, and then Daniel's like, "Guys, I didn't want to tell you last night because I was really scared, but what it was saying was an Arabic word." And I don't remember what the Arabic word was, but like the three of us don't fucking know Arabic,
Yeah.
you know? And I
Yeah.
think that was one of the things. It's like, okay, how the fuck do you explain
But
that?
it's calling out to Daniel.
Right, the dude who's Arabic. Like,
Yeah.
it was just really, that was like the weirdest thing.
That creeped me out. And the other thing too that freaked me out, because I always fucked around with telling you guys about John the Ghost. Remember that?
Yeah.
So John the Ghost, it originated in my buddy Matt's house. Because randomly his power would just turn off. And he'd be like, oh, it's John the Ghost. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, my power just fucking goes out every once in a while. And I have to go outside and flip the box to turn it back on. So John the Ghost was always a joke to me. You know, I always just said, oh, it's John the Ghost. You know? And then the one day we fucking play and we asked the board, I think we asked the board if John the Ghost was around. And it fucking like said yeah. That freaked me out. I remember like looking around like, what the fuck? Yeah, it legit freaked me out because like I made that, like that was made up. Like there's really a ghost here that's named John. This is kind of creepy. Like how long's he been here for? You know?
Yeah.
It's just weird, man. And like going back to what you're saying about you, Andy, about people finding random staircases, and you hear these stories all over the world. That's what's crazy about the supernatural is that, like, of course, there's stories of ghosts in every culture, right, of the supernatural, which I feel like, you know, you could be skeptical and think like, well, duh. Like, as humans, we're going to think about death a lot, right? But then there's also stories of, like, witches and witchcraft all over the world and in different cultures. And there's stories of, like, vampirism in different cultures and werewolves in different cultures and, like, spells and,
or
like...
if you even, this brings me like back to what we were talking about the other day, Alex Jones, how he started talking about the Bohemian Grove.
Yeah.
Like they would fucking do like these weird rituals
Yeah,
and shit.
yeah.
Like,
And that's what's weird. It's like, on one hand, it's like, why don't we have, like, more evidence, right? Like, how come the three of us can't just find a ghost and, like, record it? You
Yeah.
know, if they're real, if they're all over the place. But on the other hand, it's like, you know, how much can we trust that we know about our world, like the world that we live in, right? We obviously don't know it all. There's still so much that we need to discover. But even then, like, we're limited to our eyes and our ears. Like, we are completely limited to that. If you cannot process information by that way, then you can't know that something is there, right? Because you might say, okay, well, we could see these, like, wavelengths, right, that we can't see to the human eye. No, but we still created instruments that can still relay that information to our eyes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if there's shit that it just doesn't work that way? You know, like, data just doesn't pass visually like that. And it's like,
yeah.
I don't know. That's why it's always something that, like, I kind of leave the door cracked on. Like, yeah, maybe there's some fucking shit out there, especially when it comes to the Bohemian Grove and how a lot of these elites are part of secret societies that do these rituals and shit like that.
And it always fucking comes back to kids. It's always
Yeah.
something weird about
Yeah.
kids.
I think it's just corrupting innocence or something. I don't know.
The purity.
But I don't know. Do you, like, I don't know. Do you guys think there's shit like that?
I think so.
You think so?
I think so. Just because it's a reoccurring trend throughout history. You know what I mean? You have people who, you have civilizations who talk about the same thing. You know what I mean? Like some same demon or some same monster. Or, you know, to me, I don't know. If I can't explain it, I don't rule it out. You know what I mean? I just feel like at that time we have nothing, like you said, we don't have any instruments to relay all that data to us, to our, you know, to our senses. You know, we just can't. We just don't know. You know what I mean? And like I'm not gonna say that everything is logical in this world, because even how we're here, humans, how life is here isn't logical technically. You know what I mean? We're here on a slimmest of chances, right? But I don't know. It's just like, even with that, when you're talking about when people were saying that, oh, it's your subconscious moving, you know, the board. But it's like, really, was it your subconscious? Did all your guys' 14-year-old subconscious know to spell out an Arabic word? You know?
Yeah, that's what's
you
weird.
know, it's
Yeah.
like,
So,
come on.
like, does that mean like my subconscious was stronger than yours, or you know, like I was controlling it? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just. I
It's
think we
weird.
can't. Yeah, we just can't explain it. You know what I mean? And we, like, as humans, obviously, we always want to find an answer to everything, and we want to explain things logically, and you know, it's just, you know, and when we can't, that's when we're scared.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for me, I kind of put the supernatural and like aliens in the same category. You know, it's just like one of those things I can't explain. I don't know if it's real,
It's like, maybe.
but there's a lot of like I wouldn't say solid proof, but there's a lot of shit out there that you can be like, whoa, what the fuck
That
is
makes sense.
that? You know,
Yeah.
it's really hard to like. Okay, well, what's that? I don't know. Like the Ouija board, there's a lot of things. It's just like, what's that? I don't know, but
Yeah.
it happened.
That's the thing. Is it a far off distant thought to think that there's other life in this universe?
Like, in terms of alien
In terms of
life?
aliens, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not.
So why can't it be the opposite? You know what I mean? Why can't it just be like, why can't why is it a far distant thought that there's ghosts and there's paranormal and activity?
yeah.
And we just haven't
We
proved
just-
it yet or
exactly. It's just
something.
it's just on a different realm or a different dimension that we probably may never be able to discover.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's definitely a learning. Like, I hope it would be nice if there's something,
Yeah.
right? Like some other plane of existence that we move on to
Yeah.
after we die.
It would be nice, but it would also not be nice because there's some freaky shit. There's some freaky paranormal shit out there too, where people talk about demons and
Yeah.
getting possessed and
Yeah.
like the bear man and the goat man. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. To me, I mean, I've always believed in that stuff. You know what I mean? Have I always been scared of it? Yeah, kind of. Just from hearing stories from my parents and my family.
Mm.
But yeah.
I feel like I'm constantly looking for like proof,
Yeah.
Like I want to go to these like haunted areas and like I want to see something. I want to feel something, hear something, But it would be cool though. I don't know. I would totally haunt some people just just to fuck with them.
Yeah.
That would be so fun.
I always found it interesting when I would tell people I have a Ouija board or ask them if they want to play and how fearful they would get of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. I am always down to play. I'm always down to use it. But never in my mind am I like, oh, I want to go somewhere haunted.
Oh, really?
You know? Yeah, because I feel like the idea of somewhere haunted, that there's a lot of weird shit that goes on in the same place always. I don't know. I feel like that just to me it just speaks that something in there is angry.
Mm-hmm.
At least with the Ouija board, I'm inviting.
You're not intruding
whether
on
it's
someone.
angry or pissed off or it's a nice spirit, whatever it may be.
Yeah. That's
I'm inviting it. I'm not fucking just barging in like, yo, bitch, let me see some shit.
Yeah,
you
what
know?
up?
Yeah.
Show yourself.
I think what's funny. I think what's funny about the Ouija board is so many people like are very logical and identify as being very logical, but as soon as you say, "Hey, you want to play the Ouija board?" 9 times out of 10, they're like, "Oh fuck no." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I hardly ever. Like when we talk about this, I hardly ever meet someone who's like, "Oh, okay, like I'll play with it. What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Most of the time, people are like, "Nah, I'm good."
Yeah.
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 For me, I feel like it's the same thing. I've never done this, but if you're gonna do like a psychedelic or a hallucinogen, you don't want to go in with a bad mind frame, right? You don't want to go in where your mental health isn't where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Or like
So when
already negative.
Yeah, when I go into it, I kind of try not to be fearful. I try not to think like the worst case scenario right off the bat. I'm like, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see what answers come out of this. Let's not fucking think like, oh, I'm gonna be haunted the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
demon's never gonna leave me or some shit.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what most people think is like, oh,
Mhm.
it's gonna follow me.
Like they're gonna catch a parasite or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got the herp.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Whatever is haunting whatever place, I guess they just those spirits just feel the need to like just
Be seen.
be seen or fuck with us or it's for a reason, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's definitely things out there that we can't explain and that are very true.
Now, I want to ask you guys something. If it is true that they're spirits, right? Do you think that if that was the case, like 100%, it was proven that spirits are real, right?
Mm.
In your mind, would you think that everyone becomes a spirit and they just like exist in this plane that we can't see them on this earth? Or do you think it's somewhere where they're trapped in between?
Like the next
Yeah.
next level. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like I would, if like we knew spirits are real, I guess I'd keep an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess you would assume that they're trapped, right? Because like
I would think that, you know.
yeah.
Cause fuck, if I died and I had to fucking stay here, like god damn it,
That'd
I
kinda
thought there was
suck.
something better.
That's why they're angry.
Yeah, they're just fucking
Yeah.
over
Fuck,
this
dude.
place.
I mean, I gotta stay. I gotta stay in the place I died for the rest of fucking eternity.
See, that would fucking suck. Like, for those, I don't know if you guys have seen much of American Horror Story.
Dude, Alyssa started watching it, and I gotta say, I enjoy it.
Dude, it's
a
good.
show,
Yeah, it's fucking good. But that's one of the like consistent like tropes they have throughout the seasons is that wherever you die, you're stuck there. Like you can't leave that area. At least if you die like a grueling death. Like if you're murdered in this house, you can't leave this house. That would fucking suck, dude.
Yeah.
You're just stuck in one home for eternity. Like,
Yeah.
goddamn. Yeah, I would get angry too.
Yeah, but it's always like it's just weird with paranormal stuff, is that it's always like ghosts doing like the subtlest things that fucking freak people out. They'll just like open a cupboard,
Yeah.
they'll just knock something off the counter like
Yeah.
a fucking cat, or they'll just move something a little to the left. You know what I mean? It's like always
Yeah.
weird shit like that.
It's never like
You hear about.
straight up.
It's never
just,
like this ghost just comes out of nowhere, starts choking you. You know?
Yeah, or like lifts you by the
Yeah.
fucking hair.
Now, if you had instances like that going on,
Fuck.
yeah, would you be like, fuck, I can't live like this. I need to move. Or would you try to be like, come on, bro, can you knock it off? You know, can't we be civil?
Fuck no. I mean, I've learned
I would
from
just
movies to just
leave.
fucking move out.
Yeah, I would just
Let the
leave.
next person deal with it.
That's one thing though. I love when movies like throw that in where they're like, "All right, we gotta move,"
Yeah.
but that shit follows them.
Yeah.
Now what, bro? Like, where the
Exactly,
fuck you go now?
Yeah. I don't know. I would like to believe I would try to be cool with it. Like, listen,
Be
man,
cordial.
I had a long day today. Like, can we not do this? You know, I'm just trying to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to enjoy my beer, watch the game.
You don't have to be
He's
fucking,
just fucking
putting me in a headlock.
He's just flipping the TV off.
Oh, man.
Like, bro.
Oh, this reminds me. So I went to Hemet with a couple of friends because one of my friends was buying a dirt bike, and the dude was talking about that he has a ghost living in his house, that he moves shit all the time, and he was just laughing about it. He's like, "Yeah, I forgot
See,
what." I
that's
forgot
what
he
I
called
would
it.
like to be at. You
Just
know,
be
It's
chill.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. But I was like, "What the fuck? This dude just."
Now listen, spirits. I'm not saying fucking follow me, okay? I don't need you in my
I
life
don't know.
right
Like
now.
if they're just moving stuff around, like I guess that'd be funny. But they're straight up fucking choking me.
No, I'm not asking for that.
Fuck that.
I'd move out either way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't bring peace of mind. You know, when like if my house was haunted, I wouldn't have peace of mind.
No.
Nah, in the dark, and you know, somewhere by myself. No, you know, I'm still fucking making sure this place isn't haunted. Because at night, this place is kind of creepy.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit. Like going down the stairs, and just like can't see. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude, I don't know what fucked me up, man. Like I don't. Like that doesn't creep me out. Like I'll have to go downstairs to grab something. I'll do it with the lights off. Like
Yeah, no, yeah,
I don't get creeped out.
I will too, but it's just like scary shit, like the fucking staircase, you know, or like just I can't see anything at all. Like searching for a light so I can put my shoes on in the
Dude,
morning.
This guy's
At
like
least-
Velma.
At least for the dark, man, I think what it was doing the sensory deprivation chamber. I feel like that really changed my perspective on like darkness.
Forgot about that.
It's
like,
pretty.
it's just
fucking
peaceful to
creepy.
me.
It's,
Oh, it was creepy?
It was creepy in the beginning when you just open your eyes and it's still
You can't
pitch
tell the
black.
difference.
Yeah, yeah.
I was scared I wasn't gonna find the door, dude.
Just get trapped in there.
Yeah, I was like, fuck. I
don't
was
know,
scared I was
like-
gonna miss the fucking knock. And then he was gonna like.
That's
do
the biggest thing I was scared of too. Was like, fuck, I'm just gonna be in
fall
here forever.
asleep. Yeah.
But
I-
dude,
see, like-
I want to go back.
Dude, me too. Like
Yeah.
I feel like that was so fucking peaceful, and that stuck with me. Like,
Yeah, I
and
wanna-
that's why I can't sleep unless shit's like pitch black.
I want to go. I want to go tripping balls.
That would be intense.
Just hop in that bitch.
That'd be fucking
and
intense.
just see
I feel
what
like I was-
adventure my mind goes
I
on.
feel like I was tripping balls in it without any fucking drugs. Just seeing like these shapes and colors
Shit. I was just hella relaxed in it. But one thing I
Yeah.
will say,
and naked.
it was like more uncomfortable than I thought it would be. Like I thought that like sleeping like that, because I think the second time I went, I fell asleep. I thought I would wake up feeling like refreshed, right? Like it was the best bed I ever slept on. Dude, I woke up, my back was so fucking stiff. I was like, oh,
Dude,
what
I
the
always
fuck.
I don't know why. It always feels weird having my dick float like that. You know what I mean? Like it just fucking. It's the only thing
like-
that's really standing out from everything else, you know? It's
Yeah,
just like
catching
you
a
can
breeze.
feel it, you know?
When-
catching the
for
breeze.
for those who don't know what a sensory deprivation chamber is you're in this like little box pretty much.
Pitch black.
Yeah, no light, absolutely zero light.
Yeah.
The water is filled with I don't know how many pounds.
1,500 pounds.
1,500 pounds.
Espen salt.
Yeah, so it makes so that way you're really buoyant and you pretty much float on the water.
And I believe it's like the temperature of your body.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they try to set it to the temperature so that you can't feel where you're like. The point is you don't feel where your skin ends and the water begins,
Mhm.
right? And it's just like the closest you could get to being in a void of not hearing anything, seeing anything, feeling anything. But one thing I've noticed, or one thing that I learned recently, because they say that the human body temperature is like 98.7. Is that what it is?
I don't fucking know.
I don't know. But that's just an
Something like that.
average. Like everyone has some level of variance to their own like core temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I've realized, I don't think any place I've gone to have ever gotten it like spot on to my like temperature. Like I've always been just like a little cold or like a little hot.
I would
Mhm.
agree.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I've yet to like experience it where I'm like, dude, like where the fuck am I? You know? But anyways, yeah, like I just find the darkness peaceful now. And that was something that Emily had to get used to because she's deathly afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
So afraid of the dark, and she needs to if it was up to her, she would sleep with the lights on.
Mm.
But I'm like, dude, I can't fucking sleep.
That's one thing about my ex-girlfriend.
Mhm.
Pitch black, no TV, nothing. You know.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to get used to that because I grew
Mm.
up watching TV and then falling asleep.
Mhm.
Now with Alyssa, it's like she needs noise. You know, so she has a show going on or whatever. But yeah, it's just I don't know why I said this, but it's just weird like having to get used to those
Oh,
things.
someone else's sleeping patterns.
Yeah, but I love the dark too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I need it like silent too. Like I can't sleep if there's like too much. If there's like a light white noise, that's fine, like a fan or if there's like a buzzing or something, that's fine. But like yeah, like with the TV on, I can't. I won't fall asleep until I'm like fucking super exhausted.
Mhm.
I could pretty much fall asleep with anything. TV
Really?
on, music blasting. Yeah.
Dang,
Yeah.
I could take naps like with the TV on. That's fine. But
Yeah.
I'll wake up.
I think one thing that changed my perspective on the darkness too is waking up so early in the morning. Like when everyone else is asleep and it's very
Sunny now.
quiet and eerie. I fucking enjoy it. I don't know why. I feel like I just think better
I feel
around
fresh.
those hours. Yeah.
Darkness.
Yeah. When I wake up in the morning, I'm just like side eyeing everything. Like, what the what's going on here? What's going on in the living room?
I can't remember.
And then I hear the cats. I'm just like, what the fuck? They're just
Dude.
staring at me.
Fuck, man.
It's like, oh.
What do cats know? Like those fuckers, they don't care what time it is. Like it could be fucking the witching hour, and those little fuckers are acting the same way they did at like
2
noon.
in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Dude,
What
they
do-
look
what do
around
they
like they're
know?
seeing some shit
Yeah.
sometimes too. They're just
Yeah.
From my experience,
like, what the fuck are you
it's
looking at?
it's always with Oreo. She's always looking at like a bug that she sees in the dark. Every time that she's like looking in the corner in the dark, she's like, what the fuck?
There's a
So
bug there.
I'll shine a light and there's something there.
Mm.
So I've never really had like anything paranormal with her happen. But I think it is, when it's like I have the TV off and she's like looking at something. When you try to cover their eyes and you're just like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You're just like trying to look over your hand. I'm like, okay, what the fuck do you see? Huh?
Yeah.
And I'll
Yeah.
shine a light and it's always something.
But if you also think of it too, whenever like there's something that's supposed to be like spooky or supernatural or paranormal, cats
Are always
the
tied to it.
The go-to animal
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
for it.
Yeah.
That or fucking sacrificing goats.
Yeah. Yeah.
Poor
Yeah.
goats, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. Do I think they see,
I think
shit
they're
that we
just
don't?
hyper aware.
Hyper aware. Or they
Yeah.
see a dimension, that we can't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
Because there's times where they do that, and I realize it's because they're hearing something outside.
Yeah, that too.
So it's not necessarily that they're looking at something. They're just like following. They're like trying to figure out where their sound's coming from. Or at least I've noticed that with my cats.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do have a story to read. if you guys are down.
Let's do it.
All right. So this is also on the No Sleep subreddit. I'll throw the credit out. This is to user grand_theft_motto, MOTTO. Nice little play on words there. And this is called Maria on the Moon.
Marie?
Sorry, Maria on the Moon.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to just read this. It's a little long, but, I actually haven't finished it. I was just reading like the first half to see if I thought it was good. And I thought it was pretty good.
Whose fucking cat keeps meowing?
That has to be
Fucking
Oreo.
She's clingy, bro.
Dude, she's simping.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. Did you know that early astronomers thought there were oceans on the moon? I asked, looking up from my book. My mom shifted in her bed, a tangle of IV tubes shifting with her. Of course, the moon seems like the perfect place to find an ocean. What a shame we never found water then, I said. Because those false seas, astronomers called them Maria. Mom smiled. How sweet of them to name the moon oceans after me. Well, they didn't find any oceans, I reminded her. Maybe they just didn't look hard enough, she replied, a little laugh slipping from her lips. For all of the pain she was in, all of the fear she must feel, my mother always had the kind of laugh that could light a candle. We were in her hospital room, the same one we'd been in and out of for the last year and a half. Sometimes we had a roommate, sometimes we were alone. Always she held steady enough for both of us. The rock I tied my hope to, the wall against the grief I knew was coming. Cancer is such a mundane word for something so hungry and cruel. I've noticed medicine does that a lot, covers horror with tedious language, like a bed sheet over a body, malignant, inoperable, terminal. But when she laughed, we weren't in the hospital anymore, we were home. When she laughed, she wasn't sick, she was young again, and I was a kid, and the world was a bright place begging to be explored. What a miracle my mother was. Cancer had taken so much from her, aged and hurt her, but it could never steal her laugh. That was hers to keep. How are you feeling today? The doctor asked. He came in less and less often. We could all sense this was the final stay in this room. Just brilliant, Doc, my mom said, struggling to sit a little higher. We can still go dancing later if you'd like, though we'll have to ask for my son's blessing. Ever since his dad died, Brian's been very protective of me. I put on a stern face. I'll need to know your intentions are pure, Dr. Bradshaw. As the driven snow, he played along. But I might need a rain check on the dance, Miss Willen. I'm not as young as I used to be. He emphasized his age, running his fingers through gray-white hair. My mom tapped her bare scalp. Right there with you, Tiger, she said. Dr. Bradshaw smiled, but I could tell he was burdened. I saw him glance at the small idol I'd placed on my mom's nightstand. The talisman was a miniature oak tree carved from gray soapstone. There were 4 faces etched into the tree, a sentry against ill health and bitter spirits. I could tell the stone tree made the doctor uncomfortable. In all honesty, I had a tough time looking at the idol for more than a few seconds. The faces were each whittled in vivid expression. The face closest to my mother's bed was smiling kindly, and the face pointed towards the door was snarling, meaning to ward away harm. The final 2 faces were both weeping. All 4 shapes were too human, too raw. There was a weirdness to the stone tree that put people on edge, but I'd grown used to every shade of weird you can imagine. My mother's side of the family was full of stories of unexplained luck and mysterious tragedy, whispered secrets and unexplained deaths. By all accounts, my maternal grandmother was either an honest-to-goodness witch or full-bore, high-caliber crazy, or both. Probably both. The stone tree was from a box of my grandmother's things I'd found in the attic earlier that month. Maybe it was just a coincidence, but my mom did seem to get a bit better when I'd brought in the talisman, at least for a little while. I was daydreaming about family history in the odd box while Dr. Bradshaw checked his charts and Mom's vitals. Can I talk to you for a moment? He asked, ripping me back to reality. Dr. Bradshaw tried to keep a light tone, but I could tell he didn't have good news. The hospital hallway smelled like ammonia and birthday cake. Someone must have had a party, maybe a patient, maybe a nurse. Strange how you remember the insignificant details while your world is crashing down around you. I'm so sorry, Dr. Bradshaw told me. The results came in this morning. It's spreading aggressively. We held it back as long as we could, Brian. Your mom is a fighter, but right now we just need to try to keep her as comfortable as we can. Brian? The wall was cracking, grief waiting on the other side, heavy and cold as an empty house. I'd known for months that this was the most likely outcome, but it still hurt to hear. Hurt worse than I could stomach. There's nothing left to try, I asked, fighting down the urge to throw up. Anything? Experimental? Untested? Anything? Dr. Bradshaw shook his head. I'm sorry. Sometimes we just run out of options. She fought a good fight. How long does she have left? I asked, looking back into her room. She'd fallen asleep. Not long, maybe days. Have you considered hospice? The smell of ammonia and birthday cake, the steady beat of Mom's heart monitor. I tried to focus on the world around me. My mom wasn't dead yet. If medicine couldn't help my mom, maybe something older could. I thought of the box of my grandmother's things waiting in the attic. There was a lot in there I hadn't gone through yet. Books and candles and secrets and lost things. Maybe there was a cure or at least a way to keep the fight going. No, I said. If all that's left is to make her comfortable, I want to take her home. The doctor smiled. I understand. We can give you some medication, ways to help her with the pain. He put his hand on my shoulder. Your mom's been in a lot of pain, but she'll have peace soon. You've done all you can. I know, I lied. Thank you. Mom lived in a small ranch house 10 miles outside of town. There wasn't much in the way of neighbors besides some woods and a creek slithering through her yard. It was a windy, warm March afternoon when I took my dying mother home. The night I began my work. I was going to turn the house into a bunker, a maze death could never solve. I would keep my mother safe. I would find a way to keep her alive. The little red book was full of ideas. Running water was an obvious place to start. The creek behind the house is barely a trickle, but it should provide some coverage to the south side of the property. Salt was next, lining the doorways and window frames, then in an unbroken circle around the entire house. This step was to be repeated daily, the red book stressed, or even multiple times per day. Even a moderate breeze played holy havoc with any salt poured outside, so it was always best to trace and retrace every few hours. Water and salt were common defenses against man's oldest enemy and well known. The book offered other, less conventional advice. It took me nearly a week to finish carving the symbols and signs into the walls, the floors, even the trees on the property. Sometime around noon on the third day, on my back in the crawl space, etching strange marks onto the underside of the floor, it struck me how ridiculous I was acting. There was no proof that any of the information in the little red book was anything other than the delusional ramblings of a bizarre woman I'd only met once or twice as a child. For all I knew, the rules meant to ward off death were actually a grocery list written in Cantonese. But I was desperate, and every time I saw my mother, she looked frailer, more fragile. So I continued carving and praying and building layers upon layers of protections to keep death far away. Making my marks took me all over the property. It was a big yard, nearly 3 acres that blended gradually into the surrounding forest. I wasn't able to pinpoint the exact boundary where cultivated met nature. The edges simply bled together, but I did my best to create a clean border with lines between the symbols. I'd always loved the wilderness here, the way you could wander a few hundred yards away from home and feel like you'd travel hundreds of years into the past to somewhere primal. This was the perfect playground for a kid. Whether I was out exploring trails or trapping minnows or spending the summer building yet another treehouse, convinced this would be the final one, it never was. I was never satisfied. The house itself, though small, was more than enough room for my mother and me. Dad died when I was 7. I don't remember much about him, just how big he seemed, with a bonfire grin and arms that I thought could hold the whole world. My mom often said I took after my father. I could see it in old pictures of him. We had the same eyes, green as moss in the summer, and the same fiery shock of red hair, enemy to every comb on the planet. The sicker Mom got, the more often she called me by my father's name. I worried when she drifted away like that, but a part of me was proud she'd mistake me for him. After all of the symbols were carved, there were a few steps left in the book to deter death from visiting. There were dozens of charms and talismans in the bottom of the old box in the attic. I sat up there combing through everything my grandmother left behind, referencing the red book, pushing the tiny charms into tidy piles. None of the idols were larger than my thumb. Some were iron and others were wood. Some were heavy, others light. All of them were uncomfortable to look at or touch. The attic was drafty, but not nearly enough to explain the cold that burrowed into me as I sorted the charms. I'm not particularly tall, but the attic felt like it was designed for dolls. Beams so low I couldn't even walk bent over. I moved around on my knees, rough floorboards threatening splinters even through my jeans. I could have taken the box downstairs where I'd have more room, but the idea filled me with a deep unease. It seemed better to leave the box up in the attic, only taking down objects as I needed them. Up here, at least, my grandmother's items, her legacy, was quarantined. The Red Book was very specific about the distribution of the totems around the house and property. I walked carefully through my mom's backyard, boots plopping in and out of mud, compass in hand. It had rained nearly every day since I'd taken my mom home from the hospital. I knew it was almost certainly a coincidence, but I couldn't help wonder if the soft curtains of rain falling to the ground were for her. I placed charms in a compass rose with a house in the middle. The most disturbing objects were given places of honor at each cardinal direction. Water, salt, wards, charms, all placed carefully, intentionally. My grandmother's book promised that these would offer some degree of protection against the inevitability of death. The symbols would confuse it, the talismans distract it, and the water and salt make barriers to slow it down. But death might still find a crack to slip through. So the Red Book recommended one final trick. There was a small candle in the bottom of the box, dirty white as stained paper. When I took the candle from its case, the smell made me gag. Have you ever walked past a portable toilet in the dog days of summer? When it's so hot, the blue plastic has started to warp and bubble. Imagine that smell distilled into a finger's worth of wax. I brought the candle downstairs, placed it on the dining room table, and set it alight. The wick caught immediately, the flame burning an unusual red-brown. No heat came off the candle, and it actually seemed cooler the closer I moved my hand to the fire. Once the wax began to melt, the smell was 10 times worse than it was back in the attic. I choked down a greasy sickness crawling up my throat and quickly left the room, shutting the front doors as I went. That helped me trap the odor, but I couldn't shake the sense of nausea. I went to check on my mother. Do you remember the day you ran away? My mom asked, sitting in her bed, lunch untouched on the nightstand beside her. I didn't think she had any weight left to lose before she was nothing but bone and memory. Her skin was rice paper over a frame that seemed smaller every day. Her eyes, though, no matter how fragile the rest of her became, remained 2 little lanterns against the dark, blue and bright and alive. I didn't make it very far, I answered, and I wasn't really running away, only stretching my legs. Mom smiled. You told me you were leaving for the circus. You wanted to be either a lion tamer or a strongman or maybe a fire eater. I think I wanted to be all of that combined. Young me was big on multitasking. My mother turned so she was looking out the window into the yard. I was so scared when I found your note, the one saying you were leaving. My hands were shaking like you wouldn't believe when I called the sheriff and then Mr. Jonas down the way. It felt like we were searching for you for half the night, even though it couldn't have been more than an hour before we found you there, lost in the woods, wandering around and shivering. You hadn't even brought a jacket. I sat next to my mom on the bed. Yeah, I didn't exactly plan ahead for my circus escape. I remember getting over the idea real quick, but I couldn't find my way back. I'm glad you found me. I'm glad too, my mother said, and I noticed her wipe away a tear. I'm so glad that hour you were gone, Brian. That was the most afraid I've ever been. Afraid we wouldn't find you, afraid you might be hurt or worse. I couldn't hardly breathe through the fear. Then suddenly, you were there, and the relief nearly knocked me over. I think we stayed up together the rest of the night watching the stars. I wanted to make sure you could find the North Star in case you ever got lost again. She turned back to me, reaching out her thin hand and placed it over mine. There were still tears in her eyes, but she smiled her lighthouse smile, and for a moment, I saw her just as she used to be, just as she was the night I ran away and my mom found me. I squeezed her hand. I was scared too. I was afraid I'd be stuck out there. What made you think of it? Well, I've been thinking a lot about dying lately, and don't, I interrupted. Don't talk like that. You're not going anywhere, not for a long time. It's okay, she said, squeezing my hand back. It's okay. I've known real fear, and what I'm feeling now, it's not like that. I'm scared, I guess, but I'm at peace with it. I had such a beautiful life. I'm so glad I got to meet you, to be your mom. I'm glad too, I whispered, voice breaking on the last word. But I won't let you go without a fight, I added silently in my mind. Something was trying to get my mom. This strangeness began the day after I lit the candle. At first it was small blips, tiny wrongs that I chalked up to my imagination. Doors I knew I'd closed at night were open in the morning. Food began to rot and spoil within days of me bringing it into the house. Eventually food would go bad almost immediately. Every few hours the television in the living room would either turn off if it was running or on if it was off. Clocks would stop overnight, always at 3:03 a.m. Shadows began sticking to the corners of rooms, independent of any light sources. The shadows were stubborn, and they would linger for as long as I would stare, then disappear when I blinked. I began hearing bumps and knocks at all hours, and sometimes, when I'd enter an empty room, I had a sharp, fleeting certainty that it was only just occupied. I avoided the dining room except to check in twice a day to see if the candle was still burning. The smell was vicious and would claw its way into your throat and nostrils the moment it was given a chance. I kept the door to the room shut and kept air fresheners running in the surrounding rooms 24/7. The funny thing was, the candle never went out, never even seemed to shrink. I could see the wax melting, but day in and day out, the candle refused to change. Days marched into weeks, and the wrongness only grew deeper. My mom and I both lost sleep to vivid nightmares that we couldn't remember when we woke up. Only the echoes remained, but those were enough to leave my pulse sprinting until morning. I started sleeping in a chair in my mother's room. I did this to comfort her if she woke up confused during the night, but also because, if I'm being honest, I was too scared to sleep alone. I felt like a child running into his parents' room, convinced there was a monster under the bed. Thing is, maybe there was. By the third week, I couldn't keep doors closed. They would slam open the moment I left the room. A terrible scratching began inside of the walls. I told my mom it might be squirrels or mice, but the sound was so insistent, not like rodents milling about, more like a dog wanting in. I stopped leaving the house for supplies. Instead, I had what little food we ate delivered. I kept the curtains drawn. There was tapping on the glass every night. About a month after leaving the hospital, we were living like zombies. The dining room couldn't contain the smell of the candle anymore. The entire house was clogged with the scent. Tiny noises had graduated into full-on laughs and screams and whispers in the rooms around us. Something kicked the bathroom door so hard while I was taking a shower that the hinges warped. I covered every mirror in the house. I'd start to see things in the corners looking back at me, half-hidden faces, shapes that skittered away as soon as I turned around. My mom was drifting further and further away. She had long moments of confusion where she'd forget my name, forget where we were. Sometimes she'd think I was my dad. Other times she'd just stare at the wall for hours, growing fainter and fainter each day like a Polaroid left in the sun. But she was alive. It was clear that we were under siege by something. My world shrank to only one room, and every trip to the bathroom or to answer the door for food felt like going over the trenches. The noises kept getting worse and worse. The shadows closer, the sense of movement around the house sharper. Every now and then I would feel hot breath on the back of my neck or walk through a cold patch hanging in the air. I stopped bothering redrawing the lines of salt around the house. I knew deep in my bones that as long as the sickly candle burned, death could not take my mom away. On the 33rd day after leaving the hospital, I woke with a start from a nightmare, only to find my mom's bed empty. She hadn't been able to walk the past week at all, so my first feeling was hope that she might be improving, at least a little. Then I noticed the odor we'd been living with for weeks was gone. "Mom!" I shouted, running in bare feet out of the room. I found her in the dining room, the door wide open. She was standing at the table, frail as a neglected scarecrow bobbing back and forth. Her hands were hovering over the candle. The flame was out. "Why did you do that?" I whispered. Mom, are you okay?" I padded into the room, the wooden floor freezing cold. My mother didn't react to my presence. She just continued rocking side to side. I realized she was still asleep. "Mom?" I gently shook her shoulder. "Wake up." Her head snapped back and she nearly fell. I caught her on the way down. It felt like she weighed nothing at all. "What's going on?" she asked, looking around the dark room. "Where?" "You're okay," I told her. "You were sleepwalking." "I was having the most unusual dream," Mom mumbled. "There were so many stars and—" She began to shiver uncontrollably. The cold hit me a moment later. I let out a gasp. The house was chilly before, but the dining room was near Arctic. My breath bloomed into a thin cloud in front of my face. I became acutely aware of the complete silence filling the house. Then I heard scratching. It was coming all throughout the house, deep tearing sounds at the walls around the dining room. Footsteps came immediately after, heavy and fast. Somewhere in the house, a window shattered. "Brian," my mother said, holding on to me. "Don't worry," I said. "Everything will be—" My voice deserted me as a massive shadow unfolded in the corner of the room. It was shaped like a man, but tall, so very tall, and it was fast. Before I could yell, the shadow was on us, pouring over my mother. In the space of a heartbeat, she was simply gone. "No," I whispered, clawing at the dissolving shadow where my mom used to be. No, no, no. The shadow was disappearing like a puddle sinking into the floor. There was a texture to it, oily and too slick to hold. I thought of my mother the night she found me, lost in the woods, the night I'd run away. Her face filled my memory, her lighthouse smile. I remembered the relief I felt when she found me, the overwhelming love. I held on to that feeling, clutching it close. You can't have her, I whispered. I closed my fists around the last threads of the shadow. There was a terrible sensation of pulling. It was like I'd caught a horse by the tail and it was trying to shake me, but I held on. A sense of ripping and being dragged. It was a riptide with a mind of its own, but I held on. It could not shake me. The temperature was dropping every second, and I felt my vision growing dark. The last thought that ran through my head before I blacked out was a promise to myself that even if I died, my grip would hold. I wouldn't let my mother's life slip away. All sounds and light faded, narrowing to a pinprick, and then going black. I woke up under a field of stars. I was lying in soft grass, still wearing my pajama bottoms and an old t-shirt. It was cool wherever I was, but comfortably so. I stood up. There were trees all around me, tall and close, stitched together with shadows. Immediately to my right, there's a road that ran straight as far as I could see, blurring into the horizon. But the stars, they were like nothing I'd ever seen before. Bright ribbons of northern lights rippled above me in green and blue and purple. Stars lit the sky like millions of lanterns floating on a still ocean. The moon shone sharpest of all, a spotlight hanging above the tree line, so close I thought I could stretch up and brush its face. You are persistent, said a voice from the forest behind me. I whipped around but couldn't see anyone. Then a dark spot began to clarify against the gloom. The silhouette separated itself and moved towards me. I recognized it instantly as the shadow from the dining room. As it moved closer, the thing grew and grew until it touched the sky and filled my vision. A deep dread sank into me, but I stood my ground. Give me back my mom, I shouted. The silhouette pulled away from the sky, and then it was standing in front of me, the shape and size of a tall man. But instead of a shadow, the thing had warped itself into stars. Miniature constellations drifted across its body, floating slowly like a time lapse of a clear night sky. Burning brightest was the North Star, blue and warm. The space between the stars was absolutely black. Not a shadow, but a complete absence of light. It was the most beautiful, terrifying thing I'd ever seen. What are you? I whispered. You know, it replied. Give her back, I begged. Please give her back. I can't. It's her time. Past her time. You delayed me. Delayed her. I clenched my fists. She didn't get enough time. I didn't get enough time. It's not right. It's not fair. Of course it's not fair, the starry thing said. But it is right. You each have your time, and at the end of it, there's me, and there's a road, and we walk it together. Where to? I asked. Where are you taking her? I don't know. It's not for me to know, only to know how to get there. Then I won't let you take her. I planted myself in the road. The world was still and solemn around us. The constellations drifted like clouds, and a soft breeze stirred the branches. The starry thing didn't respond for a moment. Your mother was kind and caring. Wherever she goes, she'll have peace, it promised. But the creature raised its hand. Did you ever stop to think that death isn't an enemy? Death simply is. It is the natural partner to life. It knows no prejudice or malice, has no designs or ambitions. Your mother spent so long suffering, felt so much pain. Instead of letting her rest, you took it upon yourself to draw her life beyond its given course. You kept her alive, but at the cost of stretching her thin, prolonging her sickness, diluting her. Did you keep her alive for her benefit or for yours? I couldn't answer. Stretching a life is unnatural, dangerous, it told me. In the weeks you kept me away, you drew the attention of old things, hungry things, forces that would like nothing better than to swallow even the memory of your mother, to tear and bite until there was nothing left but pain and fear and a perfect emptiness. I shuddered, remembering the clawing sounds, the shattered windows, and the laughter from empty rooms. I'm sorry, I whispered. Can they hurt her here? Is she safe? The stars in the shadow burned brighter for a moment. Your mother won't walk her road alone. None of you do. I walk with her, always, to the end. Can I see her? I asked. Please, just let me say goodbye. It considered for several seconds. You are persistent. And then the starry thing was gone. I was standing alone on an empty road. Brian? I turned to find my mother behind me on the road. She looked younger, healthier than I've seen her in years. The frailty was gone, and my mother seemed exactly as I remembered her when she found me in the woods still those years ago. Isn't this the most beautiful dream? She asked, staring up the night sky. Yeah, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. A beautiful dream. I love you, Mom. I love you so much, so very much. She smiled and touched my cheek. I love you too. Don't cry. It's okay. I'll wake up any time now. I'll see you then. I nodded, wiping at tears. Sure. Yeah, I'll see you then. What do you think is at the end of the road? She asked. Do you think I'll have time to find out before I wake up? I looked out at the road, scanning the trees for any hungry shadows. I don't know. I don't know where it goes, but promise me you'll be careful. My mom smiled wider. Of course I'll be careful. And she won't walk alone, said a familiar voice behind us both. I turned, expecting the starry thing, but the man sounding the road was entirely normal. The light from the moon was enough that I could see he had moss, green eyes, and a bright shock of red hair. Such a beautiful dream, my mother said. The man came towards us and took my mother's hand. He and I looked so alike, I could see why my mother confused us when she was sick. Take care of her, I told the man. Just please take care of her. Make sure she gets where she's going. There are things out there that want her to hurt her. It's my fault. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The man squeezed my shoulder. She'll be safe. Watched over. If the devil himself is waiting on the road ahead, he'll move or he'll be moved. I believed him. Thoughts raced through my head. There were so many things I wanted to say. Questions. A million ways to say goodbye. I wanted to stretch out the moment for as long as I could, but I realized I'd already delayed my mother enough. I love you, I told them. Goodbye. I woke up back in my dining room, sitting at the table, the unlit candle in front of me. The house was quiet and still. There was no more scratching, no sound or sense of life at all. I walked through every room. The house was empty. I was alone. I spent the past couple months working on the house, erasing the marks I'd made, fixing up the property. Some nights I'd take long walks out into the forest. I'm far enough out in the country that on clear nights, it's like looking up at a sea of stars. I think about my parents the most during those walks. I grieve and remember in my own way. And I wonder where their road went, if they're still traveling or if they reached their destination. I hope that the road takes them strange and beautiful places. When I walk at night, I look up for the North Star to keep from getting lost. Maybe they do the same. When it's full, I also look up towards the moon. I wonder if my parents had a chance to visit, to search for hidden oceans. I like to think they did, that the moon has at least one Maria, the one I love most. That's it.
Man, I feel like we should end it on that.
Wow.
I thought it was a good one because I liked how it
No, it was good.
wrapped up death, you know?
It was good. Man, I always enjoy good writing. And that was really good. People on Reddit, man.
Yeah.
They got some hidden talents in there.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I felt like in the beginning of that story I felt like kind of scared as to what was going to come, but then I settled down after, death was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
Why are you delaying me? I'm natural and shit.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Made me think.
Yeah, I didn't start feeling a little at unease until the noises and the scratching and the voices started coming. Because then as you're reading or listening, in our instance, you can imagine it, right? You can imagine the room, you can imagine the mom, the son, you can imagine the noises, the scratches, and only in your mind that's specific to you, right?
Yeah.
imagine.
You imagine it in your own way.
Yeah.
Mm.
But same, once death or whoever that figure was that came for her, once it explained I am natural and that I'm not the enemy, for whatever reason I got a sense of ease from that.
Mm.
Kind of
Yeah.
open my eyes a little to that idea that, maybe it's not something that should be fought all the time.
Mhm.
It made me immediately think of all the dogs that I've had, like, growing up. Whenever my dogs got sick, we never thought, like, okay, we'll spend however much money to save them and keep them alive,
Mhm.
For whatever reason, we had the worst of luck when it came to dogs because they would get sick. They would get all kinds of cancer or tumors or whatever it may be. And we always said, when it's their time, it's their time.
Mhm.
We're just going to enjoy the time we have with them.
Yeah.
I never thought of it like if I would do the same thing with like a loved one.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, because he makes a good point when he says delaying her life. Was it so much to keep her alive, or was it just so much so you could have her there?
Mhm.
And at that point, death isn't the enemy; he's the enemy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's
Prolonging your
making his
suffering.
mom suffer through something that is inevitable.
Mhm.
With an inevitable disease, cancer. It's a lot of times the people that have it will end up dying.
Mm.
And it's whether you accept it or not. Obviously you can try and fight it, but there's a point of no return with it, right?
Yeah.
It's like when
Your quality of
yeah,
life is
it's just like, do you want? I know you don't want to lose your mom, but losing her is the best thing for her.
Yeah.
Might not be the best thing for you, but there are a lot of themes in that in that story.
Is there a lesson in this? Can you guys? I would like to think for myself that not only if I got that sick that I would be suffering, but I would also think that, if I kept trying different treatments and, it just kept getting worse and I'm suffering, but along the way I'm also having my family suffer along with me, right?
Mhm.
Watching me slowly die.
Deteriorate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to think that I would just be man enough to say, let's just stop. Let's
Mm.
just enjoy what time I have here. Good. Could you guys say the same? Or would you want to fight for every, all that you can just to stay living?
I think that's a great question, and it's funny because like you'll see like cultures or people or even like movies where it seems like the most important thing is to fight for life no matter what,
Mhm.
right? Even if you're going to be a vegetable or even if you're going to be in pain, at least you're alive type of thing. But yeah, I think this is kind of like that counter argument, right? Like death is the ultimate peace.
Mhm.
There won't, you won't feel pain anymore, and you'll finally get to rest with whatever it is that you're struggling with. To answer your question, for me personally, I feel like I will keep fighting until my quality of life is like so shitty, then it won't be worth it anymore. Like for me, it's like, why live if every day I'm alive is just suffering nonstop,
Mhm.
right? At least that's how I think I would be. I feel like I don't really fear death. I think the only thing that would maybe keep me alive, that would make me want to keep fighting, wouldn't be like because I don't want to die necessarily. It would be more of like, what do I have left that I feel like I need to do before I die? Whether something as simple as like making sure my family is taken care of, or that they'll have what they need to be successful, or if there's some type of passion that I feel like I still need a little more time to like put work in or contribute towards,
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen that with my own family. And I've seen that with like pets of my family. Like up to a certain point, it's like torture, just let them go. Let them
Mhm.
rest,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd feel the same way as you. I think I would fight. and I don't know if I'm scared of death or if I'm scared of like an unlived life. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so because obviously you can't. I think what I'm scared of is the act of dying. It's like what that will feel like. You know,
Mhm.
like
uh,
when like just
pain.
yeah, like pain or like feel,
Mm.
what how does that feel like? You know, death. Because obviously I'm gonna be dead. There's nothing I can do about it. But yeah, it would be more just to live a more fulfilled life. Would be my worry and my I guess weight on my shoulders, and that would keep me fighting.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, at a certain point, if my days are filled with more pain than anything, yeah, I'd want to be. Obviously, I'd want to be dead or the plug pulled on me.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know. For me, death is like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are just out of touch with death in general.
Mm.
Nowadays, even though you could kind of easily access it and see it on the internet, but
It's definitely different though, like going through it,
yeah.
and
Well, I meant like I feel like people are out of touch with it.
like they ignore it.
Yeah. Or they don't want to see it, or I
Yeah,
feel like
pretend like it doesn't exist.
yeah, I feel like we're very sensitive now to it.
Yeah.
Whereas before then, it was
There's more war. There's
yeah,
more
it was
people
just like a
dying
part
of
of it was
sickness.
I mean, it was a part of life in horrible ways, but it was
It was a part of
nonetheless part of
living.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like the worst things that you would like living here in America is probably see like a shooting or maybe a car crash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some type of accident.
But if you look at like the other side of the world, there might be worse things than that. Like there's
Oh,
actually like
definitely.
wars going on,
Or not even that. There's slow deaths, like
Yeah.
death of hunger, man.
or even terrorist groups with beheadings
Yeah.
and whatever it may be. Like
Yeah.
those people see that shit.
Yeah. This thing, if death is is obviously a very natural part of life, and it happens every day.
Mhm.
Millions of, I don't know about millions, but hundreds of thousands, or maybe millions, people die every day.
It has to be
Has to
millions,
be.
right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
has to be millions.
But it's still it's still a touchy subject, with anybody, and I've never directly dealt with death. I can't say that I have. With someone that's very close to me. And I know I am eventually going to deal with it, whether it be me, I die before any of my other family, you guys, or whether somebody else dies,
Mhm.
before I do. And obviously it's gonna hurt, but it's just like, what can I do about it?
Yeah.
Then accept it. It's that's 100% certain in life that we're gonna die.
Yeah.
But yet it's the hardest thing to accept for a lot of people.
Yeah. I think for me personally, the only thing that is upsetting about death and what makes me always kind of hopeful or leave that door cracked about the afterlife is like the missing, like someone, like when someone's gone, and like if I'm logical about it, like I'm completely fine with the idea that I'll die and I'll cease to exist and that's it. There'll be nothing. It's just a void. It's like being like before you're born, there's nothing, right? Like I'm okay with that. But the only thing that sometimes does get to me is like the thought of like I'll never be able to talk to this person again. I'll never be able to hug this person again,
Mhm.
And I think that's what keeps me hopeful, and that's what's so alluring about this idea of an afterlife,
Mhm.
that you'll be reunited with your loved ones and you can talk to them again, But I think that what I've been starting to realize, and what took me too long to realize, is why it is so important to live every day like in the present. You know what I mean? And live every day just to be happy. Like growing up, I never understood that. I'm like, what's the point of just being happy? Like, what if you're not doing anything with your life, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like because of our country or our culture, the expectation is to do big and great things. Like, that's the number one, like, motivation for living, right? But, like, more and more, I'm starting to get it. And even though it's, like, part of me still fights it, that, like, it's meaningless to just live for happiness. But, like, what the fuck else is there, you know? Because that's the thing. And I think what really got to me is one of my close friends from school. One night that we were like at school really late and just talking about random shit, but it came up about death, and I feel very much like you. Like, I'm more afraid of a life that wasn't well lived, right? And I don't want to die like too young where I still have shit to do, right? Or shit that I want to do. But I asked him, like, oh, like, are you afraid of death or anything? He's like, no, like, not at all. I'm like, if you were to die like tomorrow, like, would you have any regrets? And he's like, no, man, because I'm happy. And it was just crazy. Like, that was the first time I really heard someone like say that way. And like, I could tell he believed it. And it's just like, that's fucking peace, you know? Like, yeah, sure, I haven't gone on to, you know, do this, do that, make this money, or start this company, or experience this part of the world, or whatever, right? But having that peace of, like, I'm happy right now, and that's all I could really ask for from life. Like, I don't know, that's like a sense of peace that I'm really trying to strive for now.
Yeah. I watched an Instagram story, and it was like an influencer, like answering questions from her fan base, and one of the things was like, what keeps you inspired to keep doing what you're doing, you know? And whenever I hear someone's answer other than it makes them happy, I don't believe it, you know? I don't believe that you just keep doing this because of the like amount of people that you see that are starting to follow you and want to be a part of your life. I don't believe that. What you're doing is something that makes you happy, you know? Just admit it. This makes me happy. Like, I love doing this because it makes me happy, you know? And I feel like I'm with the guy that you just explained. Like, I feel like I am happy right now. And if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. You know, because at the end of the day, if I didn't make so much money, or if I didn't achieve all the things that I wanted to do when I was younger, there's no value to it at the end. You know, it doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things for me when I was younger is I wanted to leave a legacy behind. You know, I wanted my name to be remembered. But as I started to realize that my self-happiness is more important than achieving fucking solving, like, world hunger
Or leaving behind something.
Yeah, something like that. Making my name something that people talk about. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, everyone wants to do that. Not everyone is happy.
Yeah.
You know?
I would say most people aren't.
Yeah. And I think I'd rather be happy, you know?
Definitely.
And of course there's selfless people, great people that are willing to put their happiness aside to try to figure out and solve these problems that are going on in the world. At the end of the day, I mean, they might never achieve that, and they will sacrifice not reaching their level of happiness that they should be.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you hear a lot, and that's truly, like, what that guy said is truly living in the present, you know. I don't know if you guys have heard this saying, but it said happiness is the present, anxiety is the future, and depression is the past, you know. Because technically you could have all these goals and you could have whatever you want, but technically that may never happen. You know what I mean? You could die tomorrow.
Life doesn't fucking
yeah,
care.
It doesn't care. Yeah. You could
doesn't care what's on your agenda.
Hit by a car, whether anything, right? Anything. Whether you come down with illness or just anything. It technically, you know, your goals aren't set in stone for the future. You know, and a lot of me, sometimes, you know, when I think about an afterlife, it's very appealing to have an afterlife. And would I want one? Maybe. But I've always wondered if that thought of people truly believing that there's an afterlife, if they take for granted what's here, because they think they'll see it again.
Or they'll think they have more time.
Yeah, I think exactly. They'll have all of eternity, like so to speak. But what if that isn't the case? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I guess specifically just I'm obviously religion, but when someone dies early and you're like, oh well, yeah, I'm sad, but I'll see them again. It's very appealing, and people want that. But like, what if you just never do, right?
Yeah.
And all the things that you could have said that you didn't, or all the things that you could have done, I feel like it kind of dilutes a little of, the everyday life and seeing the people that you love and doing the things that you want to do, but I don't know. Yeah. But going back to what you were saying, like self happiness seems to be more important. Because if you do solve the issue of world hunger, and throughout that whole trial you weren't happy, like, was it really worth it at the end of the day? Obviously, it might be, but were you willing to sacrifice your own happiness and live life in order to solve these major issues of the world, that you made, your own burden. So
I think that's the thing. Like, I would argue that most people who do those things, they have to enjoy it to some extent, because, and this is why I think, who's that guy who's a Navy SEAL on the Joe Rogan podcast, has a book?
Jocko?
No.
David
Goggins.
David Goggins?
Yeah, David Goggins. That's why I think he literally is either lying or he's a freak of nature. Like, he likes to say that he's an average guy, but if he hates the things that he's doing as much as he says he really hates it, like every day, then that guy's fucking psychotic.
I don't think he knows what average is.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think he hates it all that much. At least now. I think he has to have learned to love it, because trying to do something that you hate every single day, like, I don't see how that can happen. I just don't see how that can happen.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know.
Average is what he used to be. That fat piece of shit. That's average nowadays, because that's what most people live like. They don't live to their full potential.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know with that guy, man. All I know is his book is amazing.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's just, I don't know. It's just hard to comprehend. I think that's what it is. It's hard to comprehend the idea of doing something that you hate every day. I've never understood that,
Yeah.
Like, I could never understand or explain how people do that with jobs they work. Like, I know there's people out there who hate the job they do, yet they still do it every day, and they'll do it for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
I don't know. The only thing that would make sense to me is that they're getting happiness elsewhere, right? And they have to do this job to get that happiness that they're getting elsewhere. I don't know.
Yeah. No, yeah. I thought that as well. But I mean, at a certain point, he talks a lot about just giving everything that he has until he can't do that anymore.
So he has to enjoy that, though, right?
But this is the thing. I think that's what, when he, because he talks about a lot. Even though he's injured, he could still walk, he could still run, he could still lift weights. But he talks about being old, about when he can't do that anymore, he's gonna look back and be happy that he gave everything that he had. So I think that's his ultimate goal. You know what I mean? Is that realizing that, no matter how hurt he was, no matter how tired that he felt, he absolutely gave 110%, and he could die that way.
Yeah.
Whereas if he didn't do that, he wouldn't be able to live with himself, which is kind of like it's very extreme, you know.
Yeah. I just like I feel is that flawed though?
Yeah.
Because at that point you're living for like future happiness,
Yeah.
but for future you might not get.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
Like, what
I
if
mean,
you-
I would assume that it does make him happy.
Yeah. Because like, what if he never gets that moment to look back and be like, I'm happy now because of how much I sacrificed before. Like I don't know. That's just a random thought.
Yeah. Yeah, it almost seems. I don't know. It almost seems impossible to like live in the present.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. But essentially,
Definitely. Like 100%. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Essentially, people that are happy, that's essentially what they're doing. I guess, you know.
They're enjoying the present.
Yeah. They're, you know, enjoying their accolades. You know, if they've worked hard, you know, enjoying the fruits of their labor.
Mm.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. The thing about death that confuses me is when they use psychedelics to ease the thought of death. With like terminal patients and stuff. I wonder why that makes people accept death
I didn't know that was a thing.
easier. Yeah, they use I don't know if it's mushrooms directly.
Mm.
Shrooms, but they use those with terminal patients to for them to easier grasp
Of
the
death.
concept of death and being okay with it, and they do, and it's a proven study that people end up being okay with death after they take, you know, these psychedelic drugs and like DMT, you know what I mean? But that's still like a big that's mind-boggling to me.
I feel like it probably goes back. My best guess was it has to go back with like your ego, you know, because
Shedding it.
yeah, a lot of these people say that especially on psychedelics, you get detached from your ego and you're able to take a much more honest like look at yourself, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe that has some influence,
Yeah.
but
Maybe that's the
It's
fucking
interesting.
answer, huh?
yeah.
You know, dose. We know we all need a dose of psilocybin. Huh? I don't know, but
Can you
yeah.
imagine if like you know how you do like the 6th grade trip where you go camping for like a week?
Uh-huh.
What if like part of that was like a mushroom trip?
All right.
All the kids.
All right, kids, come grab a
Come grab a gram of mushrooms.
Come grab a big cap.
Come grab a slice of pizza with mushrooms.
But I say that because I listened to a podcast recently. It was Joe Rogan's about
Who else? Talking about psychedelics.
yeah. Yeah, I guess he just put two and two together. But he had someone on there. I forgot his name. But they were saying that the ancient Greeks used to use psychedelics kind of religiously.
Really?
Yeah, that they would all go to like Marcus Aurelius, I think like Plato, and like Socrates. They would all go to this area. I forgot what it was called. It was like Soma. I think it was called Soma. But they would drink from it, and they would. There's accounts of them just ending up being okay with death, like not fearing death at all. And there's another account of, I forgot who it was, but they were trying to take that away, that psychedelic drink that they would drink. And one of this higher up dudes that was combating it was saying that what is our society without this? You know what I mean? So it had to have been really important to them. You know what I mean? He was saying that it glued their society together. You know, it was like the foundation.
Yeah.
So, and they were saying that, I mean, there's a lot of accounts too that say that Christianity and religion comes from, you know, like psychedelic drugs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Moses had to have been fucking high off something, right? He was talking to a burning bush.
I mean, yeah, who knows?
Well, I think there's a theory that the burning bush was actually weed.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I've heard that.
that's
I've
it.
heard that. So he got
But
high.
you also have the conspiracy too that the government made like psychedelics illegal because it freed your mind, right?
Yeah.
It made you.
And if
it
that's
made
the-
you think against like the status quo
Yeah.
or whatever.
And if that's the case with the Greeks, I mean, it kind of plays hand in hand, right? The same idea, really, right?
Yeah, it's just if you look at the great thinkers of that time, it's still applicable today.
Mm.
If you look at like logic and reasoning
Yeah.
and just living life in general,
Yeah.
it's still here today. Quotes of what they say in their teachings. But I don't know, man. I think there's an answer there somewhere. Personally, I haven't had any psychedelic drugs, and I hope to in the future, but I don't know. I feel like the president should at least and then come out the end of it, and I'm sure they're going to be a better person.
Yeah. Be a little more in touch.
But I don't know. But they were saying too that the Salem witch trials, they were saying that might have been caused due to mushrooms.
Really?
Yeah, because apparently there's a strain of mushroom that grows kind of frequently on wheat,
Mm.
and they were saying that when they harvested their wheat, they didn't realize that there was this species of mushroom that makes you trip out, and it's supposed to be like 10 to 50 times greater than an actual like mushroom.
Damn.
So they were saying that's
Probably
why the Salem
tripping
witch
out.
trials happened.
10 to 50. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
So they were saying that's why the Salem witch trials happened, or people were accusing other people of being witches, or technically just women, but
Yeah.
um,
Dude, that whole fucking thing it's crazy how that really happened, man.
yeah,
Because all the quote unquote witches, they were all like young women. They
Yeah.
were like
Mm-hmm.
not even women, dude. They were
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
They were
He
fucking
was like-
children.
If you
Yeah.
just owned a cat, if you had black hair or something like that.
Dude, I still find it funny how the reasoning was if they throw your body in the river and you float, you're a witch and they'll kill you.
Mm-hmm.
If you sink and drown, then you're a human after
Yeah.
all. So it's like
Burn, burn,
oops.
burn the witch. If she lives,
Kill
she's a
her.
witch.
If she dies, we fucked up. Like, what kind of thinking is that?
We're through logic right out the fucking door.
Man,
Yeah, man, we've had some wild times.
Yeah.
definitely.
Jesus Christ.
We're definitely gonna have some more too.
All I gotta say is I'm glad I'm living now. Not when you couldn't prove anything.
Dude.
You're a fucking witch. No, I'm fucking not. Prove it. Shit.
You got me.
Fuck, man.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You guys down to wrap it up here?
Yeah,
I'm
we
down.
can wrap it up here.
I think
What?
this was an interesting episode.
What a turn of events. I did not think we'd go down this road.
Yeah. Very interesting episode.
Yeah.
Kind of liked it.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I guess I'll start my goodbyes. Happy Halloween, motherfuckers. For those who are in India, I don't know if they celebrate Halloween, but if not,
I don't fucking know.
hug your loved ones. Remember the loved ones you've lost. Eat some candy. Get drunk. That's just Halloween traditions, bro. And you could celebrate with us, even if you're not from this country. And of course, with that being said, once in, always in. Thank you for joining the circle.
Whose episode's next?
I don't know.
I think it's you.
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goodbye, everyone. I appreciate you listening. We'll see you probably after election night. I'll try to get the episode up. It's gonna be a whole lot of fun.
We're doing an episode on election night, though, right?
Yeah. We're gonna record.
That's like next week,
we're
isn't
gonna.
it?
That's like Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday, I think.
Holy shit, dude.
The 3rd. Yeah. Tuesday.
Oh, man, I can't believe it's here already.
What's gonna be crazy is we're gonna watch it and they probably aren't even gonna have the results in.
Yeah, I know.
That's the crazy part. But yeah, we'll see you then. Remember, only you can prevent forest fires. Don't let the man get you down. And go fuck yourselves.
Jeez, respectfully. Yes, thank you for listening. I would just like to say, I hope everyone out there is happy or wants to be happy is their ultimate goal. You never know when you're going to fucking die, okay? Let's just say, like,
Put it blunt.
yeah, do whatever it is you want to fucking do. You know, who cares about what people think? Who cares about what your parents think? Who cares about what your fucking significant other thinks? If it makes you happy, then that's all that matters, okay? And for the people that aren't happy, I wish you happiness. But anyways, signing off. God bless your mother. Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.